Well, hello again. I didn't think I'd be doing this video, but I felt like I have to. I'm responding now to my video of yesterday. Well, not so much of the video, but I got a lot of comments. And don't get me wrong, thank you for all your comments, all those that commented. Whether you disagree with me or not, that's not an issue. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I just want to clarify a few things, because I think some people have misinterpreted my stance on this whole issue with the ISO. Just want to make it clear, this all started because of one person making a video, making claims that this camera was flawed and it's got a bug, and this is wrong, this is bad, this shouldn't be like this, which was a load of fucking nonsense. And that's what's kicked all this off. And I think we know what video I'm referring to. Now, that same person who I requested to respond to me when Nikon replied to his so-called complaint to them has never bothered to get back to me. He dismissed comments on his video because he didn't want people disagreeing with him, which people were doing. I know that for a fact, and that's why he deleted the comments and stopped people from commenting on that video. Right? The bloke, he was wrong. He was completely wrong. Well, when I say completely wrong, the only point I will agree with him on was, he was saying if he'd go into use the ISO button, it should override any. That I kind of fair enough. But he was claiming that was a bug. That's not a bug. A bug is an issue, a technical issue within the camera, which means something in the camera isn't working properly. Now, Nikon made it quite clear, this is not meant to override the auto ISO. So it's deliberate. So that's not a bug. That's not a technical fault or a technical issue. It's meant to be that way. A technical issue is when something isn't working as it's supposed to. Now, this guy did not understand that. And this is probably why he's gone very quiet. Because he now realises he was wrong. I don't know if the video's still up, but I suspect he'll probably delete. Although I think he's got some self-righteous problems, so he probably won't. But this is what started all this. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not defending Nikon. Should this override? Yes. Should this C button be an automatic button? Yes, it should. So I'm totally on board with that. And I have written to Nikon to say it would be better if you did this and that. Okay, now hopefully in a future firmware update, Nikon will do that. And if anybody that has got this camera, as I've said in a previous video, if anybody has got this camera and would like to see those changes, then email Nikon. So that is my, I this is where I agree with people. I'm not saying this camera is perfect. But at the same time, I am saying this is a non-issue. And it's not about working round it. There's nothing to work around. Nobody toggles between manual focus and manual ISO and auto ISO. I don't know anybody that would do that. Whatever you're shooting in one or the other. If you're doing astrophotography or landscape photography, you're going to be shooting in manual focus. Probably manual focus and manual ISO. If you shoot fully manual, maybe you'll shoot your ISO in manual as well. If you're shooting sports or wildlife or anything that requires fast action, you're going to be using auto ISO. Nobody is going to be switching between the two at any great speed. So the necessity for having that dial or button on the top of the camera isn't there. The effort to go into the actual menu system and toggle it on and off is really not difficult. There you go, I've just done it. How long did that take? There isn't a situation where I need to do it any quicker than that. So the necessity for a dial on the top is not there. This is not a Fuji camera. That's the other thing people keep going on about. This is not a stop comparing it to a Fuji camera. If you want a Fuji camera, go and buy a fucking Fuji camera. If you prefer that's how it works. If you prefer the way they work, then go and buy one. If you cannot cope with the fact that there is no ISO, auto ISO dial or button on the top of this camera, then don't fucking buy it. Go and buy something else. But please stop whinging about it like it's some major catastrophe. It's not. It's a non-issue. That is my point. Because there is no situation where it's really going to matter or be an inconvenience. And I think that's the trouble. People have been spoilt. Cameras do so much nowadays. I mean, there were times when you had to work to get birds in flight with your old DLSRs. But with mirrorless cameras, especially if you've got something like the Sony A1, you can almost take birds in flight with your eyes shut because the autofocus is so fantastic now. And I think the more camera companies have given people, now people want them to make the tea for them as well, or do their porridge, because they don't really want to have to do anything for themselves. And the dreaded thought of having to go into a menu system and change something rather than have it sit on top right in front of them is almost like a major disaster. It's quite pathetic, really. You know, it really is. It really isn't a big deal. And that was my whole point. Somebody started this by making a big issue out of something that is really not much of an issue at all. It could just do with a minor update from Nikon in a firmware, which they will probably do at some point. And if, you know, it bothers you, then contact Nikon. That's my stance on it. I just think I wanted to make that clear because I don't think that was coming across. I think some people seem to think I was defending Nikon and, you know, and the way people, you know, I'm sorry, but some people are making out like this is some kind of major disaster, some major flaw. And it isn't. If that is a major flaw, then you need to get a life. If you really think that is a major problem with a camera, then you really, you know, probably can't even boil an egg. So, you know, get over it. And that's my stance with this. It's not that I'm defending anyone, Nikon or anyone else. It's just that I think this has been blown out of proportion to such a ridiculous extent. And that's my stance on this. So there you go. That's my stance. So I shall be interested to see what the comments are after this, because I did get a lot of people disagreeing with me and making out that this is really some kind of major issue, and it really isn't. If this is a major issue, then really it's not the camera that's got the problem, it's you. It's as simple as that. So there you go. That's my stance. End of. Till the next one.